1.
Welcome back, friends, to UNACs 3. It
Hopefully
is
not cursed.
definitely not cursed. We had to record this several times, and we are certainly sober now, if that's any
Yes,
indication of the
absolutely.
time elapsed.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
y-
That's quite an indication of the time elapsed there, Sash.
right.
Uh,
Welcome to the After Action Report, whereby Rogan and myself will go through each of the UNAC contestants. We'll be discussing their builds, the tactics used, the shit that went down, and probably complain a whole lot about small UNAC chip issues.
yeah, screeches and detection chips.
Scratches on detection chips! Right, speaking of those, or actually,
Speaking
this
of
has nothing to do with
which,
detection chips, but at
no, it
the
doesn't.
in the last place here, we have Nidhogg with servo motor and oscillator,
He tried,
and
Sash.
this squad has a single kill, which I believe is on me because B2K ain't no bitch and would never lose to servo motor and oscillator.
It's because he blocks literally all their weapons.
Well, let's see. The quick thing on oscillator is this should probably just get scrapped. Can I see?
Mobile. That's,
Right.
I don't have a lot of input to give on this one. It's a cool idea, but I don't think it works.
Yeah, and then we have Comrade Servo Motor.
Wait, what?
I don't
How
know.
is it?
I'm pulling that out of my ass.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to server motor. I'm so not calling it comrade server motor.
Is the triumph of Soviet engineering.
Yeah, is that why it does a dance with its weapons all the time?
Yes, he was launched half baked from the factory.
I see. The problem with server motor here is his weapon dance. It just killed his what could have been otherwise very good performance, I think.
Yeah, so let's check this guy. If I remember his weapon chips, what does he have? He has a strange op file for this guy. It's how does
So
he choose? Is it by range that he chooses his weapons?
So he's got by range and by defense type, but he has the same range setting.
Yeah, and they overlap.
Right. So he can be fighting a tank, but he'll still pull those lacos out if he breaks 200 meters when he should be just holding bead with the Strex.
Damn.
I mean,
Yeah.
if he only used the Zalatkos against something with like sub 1700 TE, so that's quads, mids, lights, I think he'd be good. And then Strex everything else. And if he runs out of ammo, so be it. But I feel like the Strex or the Zalatkos have enough ammo to take down both ACs. Particularly with
likely.
medium missiles.
I mean, we've never seen him run out.
Right. I mean, really, really cool concept. It just didn't work for him.
Alas.
Because of the weapon dance.
The poor
weapon
fate of
dance
servo motor.
Yeah, the weapon dance was its doom.
Yeah, I think that's another thing is that this Strex and Zlatkos cover the same targets, really.
Yeah, they hit fat shit.
And they really mess fat shit up. But having two sets of that is kind of just wasted potential.
It's redundant. I mean, we saw those Latkos with Misa's squad, which we'll discuss here later.
Oh, for sure.
Just nasty pieces of work. You do not think about how much DPS those actually have until you're getting shot by them over and over and over.
I keep telling people you can DPS people with snipers.
I mean, you tell them, Sash.
Hey, speaking of shitty DPS, we got my own squad over here. We got Plasma
what do
and
you
Not
mean?
Maggie with 2 kills to their name.
We have Plasmagoon and the Irrelevant squad.
The irrelevant. Let's talk about the important one. Let's get to Plasmagoon.
Let's get to Plasmagoon. This thing of beauty here, Sash. Could you imagine what this would be like if it had VTFs on it?
VTFs would be really sick.
But we've been experimenting more and more with these plasma weapons, and the DPS on them is just absurd.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. I threw I got just a regular fucking Strek heavy build, like the CE core or the CE stacked one. That hits 3-bar defense numbers. I just threw on single sub and 2 plasma guns, and that shit fucks up anything.
Yep. So I mean, you could have theoretically put the subs on either Plasma Goon or Not Maggie to sub support the Plasma Gun,
Yeah.
and it would have been probably would have been a lot more dangerous. I think
I
most of
think
your
it
wins
would have been
come from
nice to
Plasma
put it on
Goon.
a faster frame with dual plasma, the sub support as well, and then, I mean, how do you feel about these Howies? They're extremely fun, but I don't
They're
think they ever did
hilarious.
much.
No, they didn't really do much, but they were too hilarious to just drop for no reason. You could put zinnias on there. You know,
Zinnias!
something for spam drop. The howitzers, they were funny, but they didn't do much. If you had spam drop zinnias on there, I mean, that's the range you want Plasma Goon to be at.
That is. Although, that's the issue, is that a lot of the targets that Plasmagon wants to get onto are tanks, and at the range at which Zinnias or Howitzers or wherever Plasmagon wants to be, he is getting kicked.
I think Plasma Goon did the kicking, Sash.
It's true, it's true. If we look back at the tapes, Plasmagon did a lot
Plasma
of kicking.
Goon Plasma Goon did the kicks. I
Especially
mean,
kicking its teammate.
well, that can sometimes happen. In the unfortunate facts of life.
A column.
Like,
Potentially.
I mean, there were some fights where the heat cannon just shut people down, like against
Yeah,
my
that was
fat
really funny.
asses.
But a lot of the issues we saw was those low cover maps
Right,
where
and
a
it
tank
just couldn't
just
hit
cannot
the heat
engage
cannon.
anything.
Right. Do you have like heavy jump chips on there, or does it rush at all, or is it just kind of it does a thing?
I actually can't remember. Let's take a look at the chips.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, don't you have the chips open in front of you here, Sash?
I have forward movements. That's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
nothing really special here.
Maybe if it was more aggressive with an autocannon, I think it could have been a very solid contender.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean,
Like it's trying to get to about 100 range.
yeah, which is where that heat cannon wants to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Sash, there is one thing that Not Maggie does well, and it kicks things like the Plasma Goon.
Indeed. It's a warm body that can kick things, and that's
It's a warm
sometimes all
body
you
that
need
can
out of a
kick
UNAC.
things. The warm kicking body.
Hey, slightly warmer bodies now. Let's talk about our strange tie for third to last here. We've got FBF and
Who
Dr.
are
Allpower. Let's talk about FBF first.
Yeah, FBF, the whales.
Yes, Whale and Maple. Maple, I really like this guy. Let me tell you. So VTF, this weird Sawa Sniper BR pairing, and that base CEMG. I'm not sure what
I
went
really,
into
really
making
like
this
it.
thing, but it's pretty cool.
I really, really, really like it. It's got 3 operation files. You can tell a lot of work was put into it. The problem is, I think it just tries to do too much. Like, you could probably accomplish the exact same thing with 1 operation file, where you use Sawa BR, drop the sniper rifle completely, and behind the BR you have a CMG. You just purge the battle rifle against things with like sub 1000 CE defense.
Oh, that could be smart.
I mean, it's a really, really cool build. It's a really cool concept. It didn't weapon dance so much.
I never
It was
actually.
always
I
trying
don't
to
recall it weapon dancing.
no, it was always trying to pick on a weakness
Yeah,
with its weapon set. But I think it just tried to carry too many potential weapon sets at once. But very, very cool concept, well executed.
that's for
It
sure.
just tried, yeah, it just tried to do a little too much at once.
Speaking about trying to do too much at once, let's talk about Whale.
The whale,
So
Sash,
this
we
guy,
cheered for the whale.
the CMGs are just redundant. I don't
Yeah,
think it ever benefited them to have it.
no, it pulled them out like once or twice, but it never used them. I don't recall it actually doing anything with the CMGs besides them just taking up space.
Yeah, seriously,
And
just straight Gat and Jupiter it's pretty good.
is plenty.
It's
Yeah,
plenty. It's pretty much all you need.
don't need to put anything else on there.
You don't need to overcomplicate it, and it's a pretty
No.
bulky build, anyways. Like, how much does this thing have? Yeah, it buffs Strex. That
You
shit
should
just
buff high
bounces the
speed
fuck
missiles. I mean, yeah. You just want this thing laying rounds on a target. You don't need to be trying to make it weapon dance.
off. Yeah, this whole
'Cause
second operation file is just unnecessary.
Right. Yeah, we did cheer for it. We cheered a lot for the whale.
Yeah, no, this thing pulled out some pretty clutch kills.
Yeah. Seriously, surprising for this what is it, ACV HRJ here, the GAT HRJ from AC5 coming back to kill us all.
Yeah, with the heckin'
It pulled out
Siggy
some,
head.
yeah, I mean, it pulled out some clutch kills. Very, very cool.
And
It
that's
just,
mostly just by putting a whole lot of rounds on the target, and being an HRJ,
right.
it can kite pretty well.
I mean, it could kite well. It didn't get stuck because it could always just jump around.
Yeah.
It blocked some of the really heavy weapons in the tournament, like the medium missiles. They don't
Right,
do
that's
any
crucial.
effective damage. I mean, this thing could individually, it could kill a lot of the other UNACs. I think its weakness was just it wasn't as good in a 2v1 scenario.
Right, and you see it engaging on something and then eating a whole ton of salvo fire. At least a
Right,
couple of times
right.
we saw that, or walking into a tank.
Maybe if we had allowed shields in this tournament, it could pull out a TE shield and kind of fix that issue.
I think that would be an interesting thought. We'll have to think about
It,
whether shields will make an appearance again later down the road.
yes, indeed. We'll get back to you guys on that one.
Right, let's talk about Doctor.
Obviously, we love Skyblazer.
Dude,
The,
Skyblazer's MR. Doctor All Power. Where's the Doctor All
oh
Power
wait,
ones?
what?
We're talking Amber and Ametrine.
Oh shit!
Amber,
I
this
jumped the
little
gun.
Cento is hot.
Yo, Sash, did this Sinto ever lose an engagement on N64? I don't think
No,
so.
that motherfucker, he ended that shit in 60 seconds flat.
he would kill both the enemies.
He'd kill both of them.
I know.
Do not sleep on the Sniper Cannon Cento. Vipera action, it's here.
You cannot. I mean, this thing was so surprisingly deadly. So surprisingly deadly. I easily the best sniper cannon performance we saw in the tournament.
Definitely,
Easily.
it had just the right amount of armor and just the right amount of speed to really give that
kite
fire
games,
support,
Yeah,
that fire support
he
role
didn't get
a
caught
lot of embodiment.
I mean, Sash, he was fast enough to keep pace. He didn't get caught on much because he was agile. He could put huge amounts of damage on anything in a very short time. I mean, amazingly great little UNAC here.
That's for sure. And he's actually got a couple different op settings, but that's mostly for when it loses ammo.
Right.
And we saw the provos come out like once or twice.
Yeah, once maybe twice, but it's really not something that you think about as losing ammo. It generally ends fights pretty decisively before that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love this little dude.
Now take a look at this. Targets AC, then tank, then heavy, then med. It just down the line. It really makes it 8 hours off. Huge fan of Cintos and Cinto representation in tournaments. They're not great builds for players, but for your bang for your buck on a UNAC, they're pretty useful little buggers.
Yes, indeed, Sash. Yes, indeed. And you underestimate the Cinto at your own peril. The Cinto is here. The Cinto is now.
Now, let's talk about his partner, Ametrine, here.
This is a cool tank. I like it as a tank. Unfortunately, I just feel like it didn't compete with the other tanks that we saw in this tournament.
You know, what is the tune on this this cannon again? I can't remember.
So the cannon is accuracy. The autocannon is full power. And unfortunately, he's just not going to have. Yeah, he's just not going to have the combat endurance he needs.
He struggles to fight tanks, and he struggles to catch up to lighter shit.
Right. This combination does work, but you need to have sub support on it. Like if you sub supported this tank, it would actually be able to hit things with that cannon, and then the power auto could just chew it up because the cannon has a stun. But without the sub support, the cannon just really struggles to land anything.
Yeah, and it's got a 140 combat target range, so it's even at that range, the cannon is going to struggle to hit, and it's only got 20 shots. Right. You're going to lose that thing pretty quick.
I do like the use of the ultimate weapon. That was really cool.
It was definitely cool to watch.
I think he did try to use it once. But,
he pulled it out.
What it actually does do to benefit this tank is increase the active frames on the kick.
Yeah, so that benefit for UNAC.
Yeah, this thing's kick could be far more deadly. I just don't think it really made use of its boost charge too much.
I would want to see a Procne version of this with. Oh wait, this is Procne. Hold up. But I would like to see with the Mega Blade.
Oh yeah, something that it could actually
Something that would
use.
have some range.
Yeah, then it could actually use that. I think if he had just swapped like to a heat cannon, because the heat cannon has a much faster lock time.
Yeah. But we wouldn't see the overed weapon come out though, because it would just try to be a
No,
DPS tank. But
that's
even
true.
then, it's a much more, you know, emphatically represented DPS tank when you're representing the kind of firepower that this thing has with super
Right,
huge
right.
DPS and then a kicking bonus to it. But again, it's got a
Yep.
KE cannon.
Yeah, I think the KE cannon was kind of just its weak point here, Sesh. Apart from that, the frame is cool. It hits some defense numbers, um, especially since we didn't allow the use of the dual shoulder arms with missiles.
Yeah, this is a really
But
nice frame for
yeah,
single shoulder.
this was a good workaround. It has very similar defenses to what the standard meta tank frame would be. Not much about that frame.
The sky, but contest.
I mean, how many? He was key in almost every game he played in.
He
You
was
either
absolutely
beat
instrumental in killing
Skyblazer,
basically every one of his opponents.
yeah, you either beat Skyblazer or he beat you.
Yeah,
I mean, that there was no middle ground. We saw Plasma Zinnia, Flash Rockets has a ton of DPS, and he was fast enough to be consistent with it.
yeah, and he could really catch out other lightweight builds with that Nappa and that kayak. And now,
Yeah, I
if I
think we
remember right,
saw.
his chip settings is he purges those two just when he gets in range to use the plasma and Zinnia.
Yeah, against certain defenses, he just drops them. So I think the kayak was only ever used vaguely a little bit against like Mir's LRJ, and then I think the plasma gun was only used against I think the whale, or the pulse gun was used against whale. Otherwise, he just dropped them.
Yeah, where's his purge chips? Yeah, there they are. When they get into 40, 46 range and target defense types is if it's not going to be effective, he just drops that shit and he goes for game.
Right, and
This is a
when he
very
goes for
decisive
game,
UNAC. I love it. And
when
where
he
did we see it?
goes
It's got
for
that
game,
blade
so
chip for the pulse gun. I love that.
yep, this is all right. I'm not gonna even bother locking it. I'm just gonna shoot his ass. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
he's here to just end. He's here to end motherfuckers. Where's
I
his
mean, this
detection
thing
settings? He's
ate a
got some pretty
lot
good
of the
ones.
heavy builds.
Yeah, he goes after lights, RJs, etc., and then anything TE weak. Then he just focuses his fire, and that's really all you could hope for. Is he really supports his teammates well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I honestly think he could have been a top contender if he had had a partner besides Dynasty Hercules.
Right. Let's talk about Dynasty
Unfortunately.
Hercules.
Very, very, very cool. I love its sniper cannon performance,
Dude,
but it would
I
just get
love tanks that
separated.
have weapon arms. It's really hard to make those work. They're really cool. I remember seeing them a whole lot when the game first came out. Where
Yeah,
people said, I
you
don't want
remember
to run
seeing.
a sniper cannon quad. Throw the sniper cannon weapon arm on your tank, and just take out the turrets before we engage.
Yeah, did you guys on Xbox see the? We had one guy running around. I forget what the hell his name was. He called his AC Nemesis. He had laser cannon, pulse cannon, and medium missile weapon arms on his tank.
That is hot.
Yeah, it was very interesting because if you were fat, he could just medium missile weapon arm you, and
Yeah,
if you were a lightweight, he was trying to either kill you, snipe you out with a laser cannon or pulse cannon you to death.
definitely
So
cool. I feel like
yeah.
Dynasty Hercules just does not capitalize on on really either end of his weapon loadout.
No, I think the problem with him here, Sash, is because we saw him delete some shit with that sniper cannon.
That's true.
You know,
Any other
not a,
fat tanks, he would just win. But
but he also he would separate from Skyblazer.
yeah, that's the issue. Is the speed tiers on these guys are so different that they engage different targets, and sometimes like on And Your City, they go
They get
straight
stuck.
in opposite
Right.
directions.
Right. That I think that was really the bigger weakness here than his weapon and frame loadout, because he could put some work in, but he was a long range support tank, and he couldn't get to the battlefield fast enough to support.
Yeah.
Very, very cool concept, though. I really did like it. Maybe if he just put like, a second autocannon on and had a dual autocannon setting.
Honestly, 2 autos would have been pretty good, but we saw a couple
Yeah.
of games where he almost ran out of ammo on the auto, if I remember right. Like, the games got really that long, and he was in, like, a fight against, I think it was maybe the Whale.
It might have been. It might
And
have been.
he was just struggling to get shots off with that Sawa.
There was one other thing that we should bring up in terms of weapon dance. This was something we saw in one game, so this is really just one little
Oh,
nitpick.
you're right.
But I want to bring it up because it was cool. I think he was fighting Misa with the KE heavyweight,
Uh-huh.
and when he hit him with that sniper
Yeah,
cannon,
it broke his armor, and he did weapon dance, because he was trying to swap to capitalize on low CE.
right, he would swap to his second operation to use his other weapons.
Yeah,
I think
that was
possibly
interesting.
Lost him that game. That may have lost him that game. Three. Second operation. Good. Sash, that I think both Dynasty Hercules and Amber, they used 2 rapid fire, 1 accuracy on their sniper cannons. So these things were like bullet hoses. They were really, really cool.
Well, amen to that, Rogan.
Indeed, indeed.
Now who do we have after this? I think we got Nier!
Nier in wait, what place are we up to here, Sash? No, we're halfway done here.
We're halfway done. Nier has 5 kills to his name. MR had 4.
Okay. So Nier has
Nier?
5
Nier.
All right. Let's go out and cover the important one first. This medium missile weapon arm LRJ.
Yes, goddamn, mid-missile weapon arms in UNAC fights fuck shit up.
Yes, indeed. Hats off. This was an excellent call to both Nier and Rave who entered these, and Nier personally has the type of one that I would enter if I had entered something like this. The LRJ with power boosters, it can just play fuck off and dump shit.
Yeah, and this is basically what an effective oscillator looks like.
Yeah. The sniper rifle, rather, he's got on there, I wouldn't even bother with it. I suppose it's useful if he ever runs out of ammo, but
Did we ever see him run out of ammo? the match is lost if he runs out of ammo.
Right. We saw this little bot pull off a couple 2v1s.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm very, very effective little build. I honestly would just drop the sniper rifle and run this as is in CQ. It's good. Really a good build. It took advantage of a lot of the low CE frames. Like if you look through our stuff, I think the HRJ and then my quad were the only super high CE.
Hit. Yes. It's
a chemical sound. You said your UNACs. Medium missiles have a lot of tracking and tend to be more difficult to dodge than, say, verts, which you can dodge by just high boosting forward. It's the easiest type of missile for a UNAC to dodge. Mid missiles, nope. They're just going to fuck you up that way. Nope.
Speaking of nope, let's talk about CFH.
Yeah, this one is weird. So I'm honestly not sold on the CFH base. I understand what you were going for here, Nier, but I don't know why. I've never run out of ammo with a Strek in CQ at all myself. And I don't see why you needed to have a second Strek in the bay.
Seriously, I think this guy would have been more effective if he just had 2 Streks, because the VTFs were already killer.
Sash.
What?
You know what he could do? He could do the accuracy Elmira instead of the USG and the Strek.
No, it's actually not that good.
No, it's beautiful. Nier, don't listen to Sash. Trust.
No, it's really not that good. No, Rogan!
Trust. He's got the 191 arm, Sash. It could happen. Nier, trust. Don't listen to Sash.
But just use an accuracy USG!
He's trying to sabotage you, Near. No,
Oh my
don't
god.
listen to. No, yeah. But seriously, drop the base. It doesn't need it. I don't know why they would be on there. Apart from that, it's programmed fine. I don't really have any complaints on
Yeah, I
the
don't think we had any
program.
issue with this thing. It did its
Right.
job. It got in. What's its flank? It's got a pretty nice flank on it.
It has a pretty good flank on it.
Yeah.
Sash. You know, maybe it just didn't carry quite enough DPS to compete with the top contenders.
And I think that's because it had that just simple shotgun and Strike. I mean,
Yeah.
both weapons are good, but like you have to wait to use 2 Straks, so use 2 Straks.
They're all in the medium.
Just this is a build where you look at it and you look at the weapons and you're like, no, this shouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, what the fuck is this thing doing? Like, this is another example of trying to really over-specialize towards being a generalized build, if that makes any sense. Is you have shit that hits fucking everything under the sun and doesn't particularly do it well, but on the battlefield when this thing actually engages something, it's surprisingly good. We've got Jupiter for poking anything that's TE weak. We got the Zlatko, which UNACs are beasts with for whatever reason. And then you have all kinds of support weapons.
Yeah, we did see the Zlatko just ridiculously effective in the hands of a UNAC. I don't honestly understand how, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what the Zlatko plus the CMG did, Sash, is I bet the Zlatko would defense drop lightweights and mids, and the CMG would hit them effectively. And combined with Jupiter's, I mean, that's a dead midweight or a lightweight.
Pretty much.
And then he had that other operation, which I think is anti-quad, which is rifle spam laser in Jupiter's.
Yeah, and that'll take down any quad.
Right. I mean, you look at this thing and you're like, what the hell? But then it performs so consistently that I was astonished at it. Even other heavyweights really didn't like eating that Zlatko on the 191 arms.
Definitely not. The Zlatko really chunks. It really does.
Right, and despite being on the 250 FCFs with their piss poor lock time, he was able to hold lock well enough, and he had strict enough firing conditions.
Yeah,
he
that's
still
true.
hit with it.
He really didn't care what he was shooting at. He'd just adjust accordingly, and that Zlatko would just keep putting in the damage.
Right. I mean, this is what you call a UNAC that points its weapons at something and shoots, and that's really what you want them to do.
Pretty much. And it's got just slightly variant chip movement and engagement settings on it. That
right.
Yeah. It's really aggressive when it needs to be against quads and stuff. Otherwise, it's going to hang in a range where it's going to get a lot of value out of that Zlatko.
Yeah. You know, I'm wondering how would you think about putting like power boosters or something on this instead?
That's right. This thing's got some strange boosters. This is the UBTs, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure why the UBTs are on there, because it didn't really glide boost a lot.
I don't remember glide boosting.
It has a chip to do so, but it didn't really take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would at least like to see it with power boosters on, but clearly it didn't need it.
Yeah, I think Brias or Doffings would be all right, but maybe for engaging quads, we just didn't see a whole lot of that kind of engagement.
No, there were only, I think, 2 quads in the whole tournament, myself and Ray.
Anything that has a ton of CE, it swaps this up. It gets really aggressive.
Let's talk about the Sochu tank here, Hell's Kitchen, I believe.
That's right.
This little motherfucker.
He's a fun guy.
He is a fun guy, but you know what impressed me most about him, Sash, was his boost charge setting. He's incredibly aggressive with those. He is so aggressive with those boost charges. He got a lot of boost charge kills, if I recall correctly.
So that boost drive really. Was really so Right.
This thing could shoot the sniper cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw this defeat a lot of the other tanks in the tournament.
That's true.
In fact, it put a serious hurting on most of the heavy builds. And with those boost charge settings as well, this was not a tank you
Oh
really
yeah, if
wanted
you
to fuck
engage it,
with.
you're fucked.
I'm really surprised it didn't place higher, but I would have to say it came down to consistency with that. The autocannon is consistent. The flash rockets, okay, they shut down other tanks and heavies. I'll give them that. But the sniper cannon really just isn't as consistent as you'd think it would be.
Yeah. Well,
I,
if we want to give it credit, we have to say that it's more consistent than a KO cannon.
okay, that's true. That's true. Yeah, but I really thought he'd place much higher than he did.
Yeah, I think
I was a
when you
little
consider
surprised.
these guys together, they maybe have the same issue of where they tend to get separated on some maps. And if they're not supporting each other, they're really out of luck.
But they could win their 2v1s, their 1v1s. They had the potential for that. As long as they got their weapon matchup correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
But unfortunately, both these builds will lose to mid missiles.
Yes, we did see that. The mid missiles just shut them down, which is unfortunate.
And they also lose to Turret Town, which brings us to some of the most interesting builds in the tournament. Let's get to Messia.
Right after this brief bathroom break that I have to take here, Sash.
Well, understandable.
And then we'll get into Turret Town.
Indeed. Now we were working our way back to Messia, and Rogan is opening his snacks.
Yes, snacks are important. I need snacks. You can't deny the fat kid food. It's just cruel. But anyway, on to
Wait a minute, Messia is Model 1, Model 2, right?
Yes, Messia is Model 1, Model 2.
Model 1! Our turret puking, Zlatko chunking heavyweight.
Yeah, these are I believe this is where we start breaking into the top contenders here, Seth.
Right, this guy's got what, 7 kills?
Messia has indeed 7 kills to his team comp here.
Indeed.
This is where we found out Zlatkos can DPS things, apparently.
Yeah, and this is on low stab arms, mind you.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things that we noticed with Model 1 and Model 2 was that they were often on the same target.
Yeah, they were pretty consistent about that.
They would puke out turrets, things would engage the turrets, and they would be on the same target with Zlatkos. And that was a lot of damage. I think the only real thing I have to say about these is that the missile turrets are just not as strong as the GAT turrets that we saw.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. The missile turrets are a paper tiger, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I thought the missile turrets were really dangerous until we saw them in performance here, and they just weren't holding a candle to the GAT turrets.
Yeah, would you rather have long-range poke of 500 damage per missile, or would you rather fucking delete people in seconds?
Well, I would like to delete people in seconds, Sash. I don't know about you, but I prefer deletion.
That's just how GAT Town works. Integration field, as it were.
My hero.
Cut. Yeah. That's...
Trying to be the times with them. I mean, compared to say dual Strex, they don't have as much DPS as you think they do.
Right, but they also don't really care about what they shoot. But I guess it doesn't matter either.
Right. That's an advantage of the Zlatkos. They don't care what their target is at all. You know,
and what do they have for missiles? These guys were the VTF pukers, right?
I think one had VTFs and one had medium missiles, if I recall correctly, Sash.
Is that so? Yeah, you're right.
I mean, they were on glance FCFs, which is kind of the only thing they had that could support.
Yeah, that's the only thing that supports this playstyle.
The Zlatkos and have at least some missile locks, so I think that affected his missile choice. He couldn't put anything besides these quick locking missiles on here.
That sounds right.
But they really did not do too badly at all. I'm unsure of what could be done to really improve these, besides changing those missile turrets to GAT turrets.
Yeah, I think that would really help a lot. And probably, I guess, backing off a little bit. And high stab arms.
Yeah, I suppose that could do it. I suppose.
But then you also a long fight.
Well,
Three. Like, lies. Got it.
oh my god. Top of that, they're using Lotus as their battle rifle.
Right. And they're really goddamn long range motherfuckers too.
I know.
This is Usaguma Model 3, and they are backpedaling you into Turret Town. These guys are about as efficiently engineered as I think any UNAC could be.
Yeah.
They actually have a strategy
wow.
that they execute. They're not just mindless idiots. I mean, they still are, but they're smart about it.
Yeah, compared to other UNACs, they're not mindless idiots. I mean, compared to humans, they are, but not to other UNACs. They would puke out turrets, and then they would backpedal away into. You'd have to go into the turrets to engage them. Meanwhile, they're spamming at you with Lotus, plasma missiles, and then I think one had a sniper and one had a rifle.
Yeah, that's about right.
And they maintained enough agility that they could continue doing that on any of the maps. They didn't really have a map where they performed poorly.
Certainly not.
Man, they just didn't. The only weakness these guys had was if a tank got in there.
Yeah, that's right. They don't represent a whole lot of damage up close.
Right.
And if they don't have Turret Town up, and if you're not in that protracted battle, where you're sitting in Turret Town for long enough to have that damage rack up, then they're not really that effective.
No.
They really need to drag the fight out for quite some time.
And for the most part, they could do that. It's just these guys only lost to the two suicidally aggressive DPS tanks because the tanks could get in there and stay on, I think, the RJ or the Sinto. And they had enough damage to contend with the turrets. Even then, I'm pretty sure they took out the tanks, I think, at least once or twice.
Yeah, typically. I mean, they're hard to bring down anyways. Ever? Style expanded upon in further submissions.
Right, I would love to see more builds like this in further tournaments. I would love to see turrets applied across other leg types.
Definitely.
I mean, you don't think about it, but then you're like, wait a minute. What if we put turrets on a tank like Fanta did in the first one, but we put an autocannon on it instead? What if we put an autocannon on it instead, and we made the tank play fuck-off games?
That'd be nuts.
I mean,
hey, speaking of nuts, let's talk about your builds, Rogan.
Oh, we're on to my.
I think we need to. It's high time to talk about these crazy little UNACs you got here. Where the hell?
There ain't nothing little about them.
They're fat fucks. We have the.
I'm the fat mech warrior.
Yeah, so this is what's crazy is your stupid LM tetrapod. What the hell? So, just let me break this down for you. So, this is a UNAC that really shouldn't work. And it does because it's goddamn fat, it has a GATS, and the large missile armor breaks for the Calendula.
Yes, indeed. So, I could give you a huge list of DPS calcs and say that I actually factored this type of shit in, but the reality of the situation is I wanted to use the rifle because I thought we would see a lot of builds that don't hit high-speed missile defense, so I made a call there.
Yes, and you thought you'd be using a 12 shot on this, and I thought, oh, this would be effective, and then we realized you have a purge chip in here.
Yeah, so that was originally an X00, um, and not the 12 shot. The 12 shot in Calendula is far more effective because it gives you more stagger options, so
It's
the Calendula
consistent.
is hitting a staggered target. But I forgot to take off the drop chip before I submitted it. So yeah, it drops its 12 shot and goes into full plink mode.
Rogan, you nutso. And it's somehow a super fat 46k AP Strek buffing beefcake manages to plink pretty well, turns out.
Yeah, it plinks pretty well. The idea of the plink was that all right, the Calendula is good when it's effective and it may hit over frames.
And
Well,
it
between a
tends to
large
do that.
missile, yeah, between the large missile, the K-37, and its partner's heat cannon, I figured it would always be hitting at least mildly effectively. That was just kind of my thought process with this.
And so it turns out, typically did. Let's talk about your partner over here.
Oh, big truck with the flash rockets.
Yes.
It's a DPS tank with flash rockets.
Yes, it is. I was expecting to see more of this kind of thing.
Yeah, I really thought that I would see a lot more tanks with like dual autos or auto heat missile.
I was
So I
expecting dual heat,
specifically went,
honestly.
yeah. Well, I specifically went with the flash rockets and a second chip setting just to fight tanks,
Yeah.
so that I would get engagement.
That clutched out a couple of wins for you, I think.
It did. It made sure that my tank could beat other tanks because it was always circling and flash rocketing. So
Right.
other tanks would either be doing one or the other, and mine did both. Again, that was just a call based on what I anticipated in the tournament. Unfortunately, my UNACs are so fat and so aggressive that they do have a weakness, Sash, which cost me 2 games. Um, to both yourself and Suchu just boost charged my team to death, unfortunately, because
That's
they're
that's
so
the real,
goddamn
really the
fat.
Hail Mary play against DPS tanks in UNAC form.
Yeah, I put as much DPS as I could onto the team. I put as much stagger support as I could onto the team, and it worked real well. But they also got kicked a bunch.
Right.
Um,
It's
and I think
just a working hazard, really.
yeah, I think that's what lost me the games that I did, which is unfortunate. But I really can't be mad about their performance.
Right, and you still had 9 kills to your name.
Right, and hey, that is what it is. If Sash with his rapid fire heat cannon kicks me, and then Sochu with his mad kicking tank kicks me. I mean, all right, that is what it is.
Yeah, that's the kind of concessions you got to make.
Yep. Moving on to our tournament winner, I believe, Sash.
Yes, that's right, Rave over here. Oh my goodness, let's talk about Northern Light. And again, Rave, we gotta congratulate you for taking victory in this tournament. This was probably the
Yeah,
coolest competition we've seen yet.
yeah. I mean, wow. Okay, Northern Light. Again, the medium missile weapon arms. They're absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
We saw this quad win 2v1s just like the Near LRJ did.
Yeah, but the difference here, Rogan, is it's still got the speed tier to kite. It has a whole ton of front-loaded damage on those
With those
Kurosawas. It
X00s,
doesn't need
yeah.
those to hit, but when they do,
Yeah, that's an easy 12k instant drop. It's really, really nasty. And then it can purge those and just go straight into medium missile pukage.
right?
Plus the quad floats, so it always has the vertical
Yeah, it's
advantage.
always got that stable firing platform.
Yep,
Good angle.
yep. I mean, really, really, really good build. Rave actually confessed to me that he didn't have the time to test these ACs out, but for something that you didn't test, Rave, they were remarkably nasty. I believe Rave had 10 kills out of a possible 11. The only person he lost to was me.
And
I
that
mean,
involved a kick,
and
didn't it?
no, that involved me being able to block the medium missiles.
Ah, yes.
Because my fucking quad is too fat.
Yeah, I wonder how this would have gone if we saw more fast mids that had either pulse guns or PMGs.
I don't think that they could bring this quad down fast enough because we did see a couple builds with pulse guns or in there. Skyblazer in particular trying to bring this quad down, and the quad could play keep away well enough with those power boosters
Yeah,
that it didn't drop instantly.
and it's
And
got a shit
Rave's
ton of AP anyways.
right, and Rave's partner is a full DPS tank.
Hey, speaking of full DPS tanks, holy shit, Cross, big
Yeah,
badass.
This is a full suicidally aggressive DPS tank. It just has a slightly different frame. I believe a faster frame
It's possible.
than what I ran. Yeah, it doesn't have as much KE defense, but it doesn't really need it
No. I mean,
because high speed
effective
missiles
auto,
aren't
though.
around. Right, but you know you're fighting against another auto heat cannon with
Yeah.
an effective auto. So one race versus another race, I don't really think his low KE defense hurt him at all. Not with such a suicidally aggressive tank. I mean, it's nasty, really is. What I do like is the use of the Sown generator here
Yeah, both these guys
because it
had
let
sewn.
the Sown generator as opposed to using a high output or a proportional generator on a tank UNAC, which is what you'd usually want, lets them do some really wonky shit like glide boost, execute a dodge chip by high boosting forward to evade a missile, continue glide boosting, and then boost charge a target, all with one energy bar.
And he's got
So
pretty.
you
He's
can
got
you
similar
can
boost charge settings to our
to
buddy Shucho.
yeah. So I mean, this is I don't know if Rave actually got any boost charge kills. I don't
I
recall.
can't remember.
I
If
recall
if we
watching the
did, we were
medium missile.
too blacked out.
We might have been too drunk. Yeah, but again, tank and quad very consistent. Creative with the use of the spam drop sawas into the medium missiles, and then a standardized DPS tank. Very nasty.
Amen
Uh,
to that.
yeah, I I I don't know that this squad could be improved upon without going like into full meta. I mean, swap to the dual shoulder arms for the medium missiles. That'd be about the only real change you can make. Very good builds. Kind of
That's
what
right.
we've come to expect from Rave.
That's right, Rogan. That's right. Well, friends,
Uh,
I suppose that's
yeah,
it for UNACs 3. Any final
that's
words,
it for
Rogan?
your next three. Thank you very much to everyone who competed, and thank you hugely to Rave for playing our cross
Yeah, our
server
courier for you know
for
importing exotic UNACs.
right. Rave really put a lot of help into this behind the scenes. Oh my God, why am I stuttering my words? I'm not intoxicated.
It's
Rave put a lot of help in.
it's the
Rave
curse.
put work into the tournament to help Sash and I get the Japanese UNAC architects involved. So big shout outs to him. Big shout outs to Architect family and all the other UNAC architects who took part, who were not part of the international server.
Absolutely. Couldn't have really
Yep.
made this happen without their help.
Right. Well, that's all I've got here, Sash. Hinting about potentially another UNACs event coming up, but you guys will have to wait a little bit for that one.
Yeah, we've got to catch our breath.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a leeway on our time here.
Yes, not to mention the terrifying chronomalies that we've been experiencing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with the internet curse, but that's nothing you guys have to worry about. We'll figure it out
In
eventually.
post production, away!
Oh, wait.
All right.
Uncut.
So once again, thank you all for participating. We really appreciate it, all your support for UNAX 3, and we look forward to bringing you more UNAC content.
Indeed. All right, Sash. Remarks complete.
Remarks complete!